yes, I want to eat. But the thing is, commission at the end of the day is, I would rather a commission than no commission at all. Oh, guys, I forgot. Welcome back. Two agents, one cup. Stirring it together, swimming in this thing together. All right, right now we're talking about a new thing that just came upon us the end of last year. Something that I think Donovan and I both are still, at least I am, I'm not going to say him, are both still uncomfortable with, both still learning. But once again, we talked about how learning is growing and how having a playbook is what we need to do. So we are going to be talking about the buyer broker agreements, as I like to call it, the BBA. So if I shorten it up, just know that's what I'm talking about. It's not BBW, it's BBA. All right. What
rating is this? What rating is this podcast, brother?
With what you did last time, I'm gonna have to bleep you out 150 times. So let's try to keep it to 75. All right, brother. Hey, brother.
Go ahead.
So anyway, BBA, buyer broker agreement. We both dislike it, but it is something that we have to do nowadays in today's market. If you are not familiar with this buyer broker agreement, now basically it has to be done before we show a house. Before we show a house, it has to be done. How many times have you not done and showed a house? Incriminating evidence. Sorry.
Say, dude,
this call
part
is
of
being,
my
this call is being recorded.
Yeah, is this going to be subpoenaed to the LREC board because they're worse than the dang federal government?
Okay, so we have never done it, but hypothetically, if we have done it, I know that
I mean, I have for sure.
Yeah,
but not on purpose, on accident.
Yeah, I mean, I think once we get in the set way, and now throwing this form in, and I'm saying throwing this form in because we're watching it. I'm sure the video guy is going to talk, put a little cut up of it. But once this form came in, it's changing the script, and as actors, change the script, it's hard to do once you memorize something, just like a playbook. Once you memorize something and then new coach comes in, hey, by the way, you're now here. Well, okay, it's got to be a learning process. So yes, all these podcasts we talk about growing. We had to grow. So with this buyer broker agreement, you have to have it signed before you show a house. And what it basically states, and correct me if I'm wrong, what it basically states is that if the seller is not going to be paying for the buyer's agent, then the buyer is paying for their agent and the percentage that it says, whether it be 2.5, 3. I think we as the agents fill that in, or we can put in the exact amount. So this form is, I think really needed but pointless, because it has always been for the seller to say how much they're going to give the buyer agent. This is nothing new. This is just really, let's see how we can, add a cog in a legal thing. It's just protection. And I think that's what I think. Am I a lawyer? Am I a real estate attorney? No, I am a real estate agent. So that's my take on this. But it's just a document. But the thing is, guess what? The seller's normally always going to say, hey, I'm going to give the buyer's agent this commission. And that's how it normally works. Not say you have a seller that says, no, I'm not going to give the buyer's agent any commission. and you had the house for $200,000. Do you think that you're going to get a $200,000 all price offer, and the agent that's on the other side not say, hey, well, since you're not paying commission, you are, and in the additional terms, you're going to be paying my commission, or we're just not dickering, we'll leave this house.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's it's going to be in there, I think. But most of the time, sellers are going to be paying that buyer's agent commission. Yes, it stinks. Yes, it's less money that you make at the end, but guess what? It also helps your house sell. I mean, once this buyer broker agreement came up, it was I mean, remember those pictures that we saw somebody in the backyard put in the 3%, because we can't announce it on media anymore. But guess what? We can talk to the agent and say, "Hey, guess what, buyer?" I mean, it did one thing that I think that it did do is open up the lines of communications to agents, because I'm showing your house. I am asking, "Hey, is there commission for a buyer's agent?" Where you're like, or BAC, is there a buyer agent commission? Yes. No. I mean, all the ones that I've said, yeah, 2.5%. Yes, 2%. And guess what? It gets the deals done. It gets the deals done. So I don't know why we had to have this paper put in there, but guess what? A lot of people are smarter than me and more knowledge. Now we had this paperwork. What do you think about this paperwork? I know that you said that you're not like as comfortable with this paperwork as any other topics that we go into, but
I think it's important to remember first and foremost that in real estate, everything's a negotiation.
yeah.
So, like, people tattletelling and feeling bad that people are getting them on the commissions and whatnot that started off in Missouri or wherever it was, like, at the end of the day, if you feel like you got duped, that's your fault, in my opinion. Now, ethically, we need to be ethical. I'm not saying and rape somebody over the coals, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think
Rake,
that's
rake,
rape.
rake over the
I
coals.
knew it was something.
This dude, rake. Okay, go ahead. Rake over the coals.
Phrasing.
Phrasing. Do we have closed captioning on this podcast? Because if we do, that might be bad.
Uh, so everything's a negotiation. And two, like, of all markets to not offer commission to the buyer's agent, this is not the one to do that. Like, I had to have a conversation with my mom. I was like, yeah, it's a 5% commission. She's like, I have to pay the other people's commission. I was like, if you want to sell the house, then yes, probably so, mom. Like, yes. And then
and then it got sold
selling in the process.
in the process. There,
So, and like at the end of the day, it's just like how you just gotta get in front of the conversation.
yes.
Because a lot of people, you bring this up to some buyers and they're like, have trust issues. Like, I'm like, how are you even married? You got this much trust issues with a sheet of paper. I couldn't imagine your wife at home going to the supermarket in some yogurt pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Jealous.
Jealousy. I had a client, not even a client. I had a request for one of my houses from homes.com.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy told me, he was like, look, really feel uncomfortable signing this. I have worked with another agent, and that other agent called me, and she happened to be a good friend of mine. And I was like, no, go ahead. But I mean, at least he came forward and said, look, he told me. Now, the backstory that he told the other agent was like, I don't know this guy at all. He is shady. He wants me to sign something. I'm not signing anything.
Because I love you.
Yeah, exactly. But that's great. I mean, he knew the agent that he wanted to be with. And so, I mean, if that's what you got to do to sign this thing, then sign the thing for him. But the thing is, it's just like, look, it's another piece of what we have to do. Do we have to get this thing signed? Yes. Is there a chance of, oh, what is this? What is this really? What am I binding myself into because I'm signing my name to it? You're right. Yeah, people have that issue, but guess what? That's where we as real estate agents need to talk the thing out instead of just saying, "Hey, by the way, I need you to sign it." Explain it to it. Even though I think that it's not needed, it's still something that we have to adjust on, that we have to study up on, that's going to be in our playbook, or going to be in our arsenal. Hey, by the way, you want to see this house? I have to have you sign this for protection for you and for me. It's not like, "Oh, by the way, if you sign this, your life is mine and I get your firstborn. Trust me, I don't want your firstborn. Trust me, I got 2 kids of my own. I don't need another." The thing is,
Can you have another?
no, no, because it was my choice. My body, my
My
choice.
body, my
My
choice.
body, my choice. It was my choice not to
Go
have
get you
another.
some feminist clients, boy.
Whoa, I don't you said that those upper echelons clients are hard to deal with. Can you imagine that?
When you got the jolly green leprechaun staring at you, I think it'd be easier to find luck.
Yeah. Well, we're topic. Clap. No, it's once again explaining. It's explanation. And that is, as realtors, what we do. We explain things. It's not like we go into a house and say, "Oh, this is a house. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Real Estate Agent. How many square feet is this house?" "Oh, it's the house." I'm sorry. It's oh, it's about 2,500 square feet. Well, it says here 1,900. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not a tape measure. I mean, you can't do that. You have to move forward with it. You have to explain it. It's explanation. And that is what we do as agents is explain. So, is this BBA worth anything? No, I don't think that it is, but is it something as agents that we have to do? Yeah. It's moving forward with our craft. It's moving forward with our market. And yeah, I mean, how do you think it was before this? Do you think there's a difference?
It's interesting you say that because it's, in my opinion, this has always been implied. The sheet of papers was always like almost like a spit in the hand handshake vibe as far as
Mhm.
like, "Imma show you these houses. Please don't go work with another agent." Like, I don't get paid to drive around and waste gas. Like, I get paid when the deal closes,
Yep.
you know? So before, I just think that you tried to build it on like a word of mouth, word is bond in Southwest Louisiana. That's somewhat culturally like
Yeah,
worth a lot.
yeah.
Uh and there was times when I'd have people though that would call phone duty was the worst as far as people like fake being for you, you know? And now it's just way more cut and clear. But the weird part about now is that like everybody has different bar BBAs, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
But and like, dude, I've read some and they say like this contract can be null and void at any point. So and when you write that in it, it's just like, what's the point of the paper then? Like, what are we really doing here? You know, OG Pat Diamond?
Yeah.
He said he's been doing this for like 30 years, having people sign like a buyer's rep agreement. So if it's like, I felt like it was a lot of like almost like a smoke screen that
Yeah.
didn't really smoke too long. Like, yes, like I don't know if it's 2.5 or 3% or 2% on the commission, but it goes back to everything being a negotiation. Like everything was just pre-negotiated. Now you just have to negotiate.
Yeah, I mean, everything before you could see the buyer's agent commission, the BAC. You could see it on the MLS. Well, now you can't. So it's just like I said, open those lines of communication. But guess what? It's still a negotiation. And Pat Diamond has been here a long
40
time.
years.
Good for him. I mean, the thing is, he's been doing this? I mean, that's mind-blowing in itself. Even if it wasn't the BBA, he's been doing something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, this hasn't changed much at all besides, I think it takes a little bit, convenience out because you used to be able to see when you looked it up on the MLS, oh, buyer's agent commission. But, I mean, the reason why they were going to that or going to this paperwork is to say, "Oh, people were looking too much at the buyer's agent commission, and they were steering
Mhm.
their clients that way." I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not that agent. I don't think that I know many agents, that I hang out with that say, "Oh, by the way, this house really sucks, but it's a 3% commission compared to this house, which they really want. That's a 2%. I'm going to steer them to that way." How does that happen? I mean, I'm sorry. Do you really not know your agent that well to be like, "Hey, I want this house." And your agent's like, "Well, it's only a 2% commission. This is the house that you really need to go for because it's a 3% commission." That's shady in itself. I mean, I know agents that don't like this, but I don't think they're those agents that don't like this are looking and being like, "I'm only looking for a 3% commission. I'm only looking for that high commission just so I can get paid." No, I'm looking for that clientele that's gonna say, "I wanna use Scott Werner no matter if it's a $500 commission or a $50,000 commission. I wanna use Scott Werner because guess what? He knows me. I wanna use Donovan Johnson because he knows me. He knows where I'm going to be at, and he knows that if I do good for, if I do good for my clients, what do I hope that they do? Say my name out there." I mean, that's what I strive for. And commission, truthfully, yes, I do need to get paid. Yes, I want to eat. But the thing is, commission at the end of the day is, I would rather a commission than no commission at all. Off topic of the BBA, I had a deal going through, and it was after inspections. We were finalizing everything, and we were about $5,000 off. And I talked to the other agent. It was a 6% commission. I'm like, "Look, let's move this down to a 5% commission. Let's get the deal done." And I mean, that agent got the deal done at the 6% commission, but I'm willing to do that, and I think so was he. Yeah, the commission was blank and the other one was like $2,000 less, but would I rather a $9,000 commission or would I rather 0? Give me the $9,000, please. I need to my wife is looking at me like I'm eating out of her bank account. I need to bring a little money into this thing, okay? Okay. So it's, give me the $9,000 commission. Let me go. Let me go. Let me get this deal done. See you on the next one. We both look like heroes. And I think that's like you said, it's negotiation. It's negotiation. We are negotiators. We are sometimes the best negotiators, but it's the practice that we have to keep moving forward. That's what this is. It's a moving forward. It's not a "I am the best realtor ever. I can't get any better." You have that mindset, sorry, you're gonna be in the trash real soon. I mean, what do you think from when you became a realtor to now? What has your mindset changed
In regards,
in regards to how you negotiate?
I just feel like I'm more calmer in the pocket, meaning, like, before I felt like I'd freak out and kinda hold my breath the whole time,
Mhm.
and now it's like, I I know what my client wants, I have a good idea of probably what the other people want, and it's just about being okay with even if it's not going well, you
Eh,
know? And, I mean, for better or worse, like, you gotta push the deal through without as long as you don't compromise, like, the moral side of things, but,
yeah.
like, I just feel like I'm in this market where things are a little bit more scarce, I'm just trying to, like, hold on to whatever
Mhm.
I can. So I think my mindset's adjusted to where, like, we get a like, if I'm a listing agent, we get a contract, as long as they're not completely out of pocket, Imma really try everything in my power versus early on, I think I was in, like, a mindset where, like, if you don't agree with me, we can move, we can stick and move, whatever, but
Mhm.
I just feel like I'm more open now while still being demanding.
Okay, but the question is still, in your negotiation tactics, did this BBA hinder you in anything?
No, if anything, it felt like a something to do before we start the actual race, almost like priming your engine, kinda.
No, and so, like I said, do we know the BBA well? I don't know it very well. I have not read through this thing. I know what to fill in. Truthfully, I know what to fill in. Is it a residential? Is it a commercial? Is it vacant land? I know what to fill in. I mean, this is just something that we have to that once again that we have to move forward with and steer the ship. Because if we don't steer the ship, then we don't move forward with anything. We're adrift at sea. We have to have a reason to go forth, and you have to steer a ship to go forth. So that, I mean, that's the BBA. I didn't think that this podcast was gonna be that long on just BBA. So, but once again, it's like we said, it's real estate. It's moving forward. It's navigating through the hard times. And no matter what forms come up, we still have to navigate. Wouldn't you agree? We still have to navigate. Like we said, we have to be that thermometer, that not the thermometer, but the thermostat. So that's where we are at with this BBA.
And, yeah, last thing Imma say about it, it's all about, like, framing, you know?
Yeah.
Like and, like, it's, like, not what you say, but how you say it, kinda
Yeah.
back to that principle too, because like people saw this commission stuff. You were probably getting text questions from your local places you dine at. Oh, Scott, like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And like, if anything, like, I like to kind of give into it and be like, ah, dude, they got us this
They got
another
it.
paper. But look, this is just saying that we're homies, basically.
Yeah.
And that you're willing to pay for your homie if they don't want to pay, but no, your homie's not gonna ask you to pay for their commission. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask them, my non-homie, to pay for my commission. So like, you can spin in ways that make people go from like, to like, okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Silence.
Literally, because at the end of the day, like, man, didn't want to work with me. I'd probably let him walk, even though it sucked. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't want your bad energy around me. Whatever crawled up your like died, like, that's cool. But like, I'm not gonna let that affect me.
No,
You know?
I
So
don't think we should. I think it has to be like you said. We have matured in agents, or we have matured in ourselves to be agents, be selective. We don't have to have every, even though we want every transaction, it's not like we have to hurt ourselves to say this transaction is good for us, because sometimes that money is not good. I mean, going and saying, being your agent, firing sometimes the seller that you had. Wow. I mean, do you really want to fire a seller? No, but sometimes do you have to get, if they're not listening to you, why did you hire me? Why did you hire me to be your agent, to bring these people that to bring these other agents in? Why do you hire me if you're not going to listen to me? Sometimes you have to be able to say, okay, if you're not going to listen to me, then hey, I respect you, but go ahead, go move on with your own, with what you're doing. I'll give you a list of agents. Peace. I gotta go. I mean, I've had buyers that don't listen to me. I've had buyers that I've tried to crack down on prices, and sometimes it's hard for those buyers to see when they're having to give money up at closing to get out of their mortgage. That's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, I had one buyer that I was willing to go down to $500 commission just to get the deal done. He would still have had to come out of pocket for like $3,000. And he's like, "Scott, I'm sorry, I can't." And that's the position, that's the market that we live in right now. I had one client that was in the Navy, moved out of their house was on the market, sat on the market for 6 months. I picked them up. He was already transferred to Tennessee, and I happened to be both sides. I got a buyer, so I was both sides. I was dual agent. And I went to my broker, who we both know, and they're like, "No, you have to be at this percentage." I'm like, "Well, can I go down a percent?" "No, you can't. Sorry. It's against rules, it's against regulations. We're not making any money if you do that." I didn't like that, but okay. Kept the percentage. But guess what? My seller had to come out $12,000 at closing to get this deal done. $12,000. Basically, it was the commission that he had to come out of pocket. And, can you imagine what he said at the end of that? He was like, "Scott, thank you so much. Thank you so much for selling my house that I couldn't get sold." I'm like, "My guy, $12,000. By the way, uh, but he was so happy. He's like, "Look, now I can move forward with, our future. Getting my wife the minivan that our growing family needs." I'm like, once again, $12,000. He's like, "No, forget about that. You are one of the best agents and that was early on in my career.
Mhm.
And to be like, man, that's what he got out of this. I got oh boo boo. And he's like, "No, you were great. I felt like crap." He was like, "No, you're great." Once again, it's that shifting of the market, whether it's a BBA, whether it's having to tell your seller, "By the way, you're going to have to come out to pay your mortgage." It's shifting of the markets. It's being the best agent possible.